Good morning. Keith Hayes, just seeing what it would be like to have a little beard. Haven't had one since university days. It's coming off. Not too distant future. Now, the reason that I'm doing it, the headline this morning is that obesity is linked to the coronavirus. And I have been told that I'm clinically obese. I was so upset. I went and got a chocolate bar to pacify me, to calm me down. One of the things that is very difficult in life is breaking a habit. And I feel pretty good about self-discipline. When I was working in Northern Ireland, late 70s, well, mid-70s, through the 80s, I used to smoke anywhere up to 80 cigarettes a day. A very tense time. We would reach for one, didn't even know that we got it alight. Probably write another one was still alight. Until I thought, my shoulders are aching as if I got the flu, and this is constant. So one New Year's Eve, I made a New Year's Eve resolution not to apply it that night, because we were going to a party and it would have been ridiculous to try to stop smoking. But the next day, New Year's Day, 1980, with friends, we were going to the Culloden Hotel in Hollywood, in Cultraw, for a nice lunch with very jolly people. And I said to myself, if I can get through that without reaching for a cigarette, well, at least, even if I reach for it, not smoking it, it'll be the first step. And I haven't had a cigarette since. Not bad discipline, is it? But chocolate, I've had a weakness for. Can I discipline myself to stop eating chocolate? Can I stop myself from being clinically obese? As some of my friends say that I'm pleasantly cuddly. I'm not obese at all. But then they're just buttering me up. And they look at me with rose-tinted spectacles and say, Keith, we don't see you as obese. Well, I am, because a very pretty nurse told me so, after taking all my vital statistics and putting them into a computer, which does all sorts of computing. Oh, come on. Come to think of it, I don't believe in computers. Well, I do. I mean, I recognize that they can be very helpful about lots of things. What I object to is the fact that the big boys, the banks, I can see once we're here, Lloyd's, and around the corner there's NatWest, and at the top there's Barclays and HSBC. They have all relied upon computers. Now, I had a bit of a fallout with O2, and my spies tell me that O2 is thinking of merging with Virgin Media. Now, that'll be a very interesting one, won't it? More giants. But O2 charged me, or cut my phone off, because I owed them £7. The reason I owed them £7 is I pay them by standing order and one or two little extras on, which the standing order failed to pay, and I hadn't noticed that they'd sent me a notice. So it's partly my fault. But I phoned to the chap, and it was very pleasant indeed, dealing with a human being, you see. And I said, you know, don't you feel mildly ashamed that you have cut the phone off at a time of a dire crisis in the country, of an 80-year-old man with Parkinson's who is housebound and needs his medicines, and he can't even phone the surgery to rebook them. And he gulped, and he was very pleasant. And I said, but you didn't make that decision, did you? No, he said, I'll just put it back on for you. Put it back on. I said, it's all right, I'm going to pay the £7 in a minute. And there it was working again. Even though when you actually phone to pay a bill electronically, the computer says, we'll have it back within 24 hours. See, they can do it within 2 minutes if you talk to a human being. But anyway, then I said, and I bet you that this letter, which is a bit of a threatening letter, came out of a computer, didn't it? Yes, he said, yes, those things come out of the computer. Yeah, I said, well, nobody is talking to the people who are supposed to talk to the computers. And it's not just you, it's the banks, it's the government, everybody. You pay vast amounts of money to put ads in the paper to say you are supporting us through this dire time. Do you? No. And why? And you may have the best intentions in the world. Nobody talks to the computer. Nobody alters the computer. The computer continues to spew out these awful bloody things. Who actually designs them and writes them, I have no idea. First of all, half of them are illiterate. One thing I am is a writer, mind you, in the way I write. You might say I'm illiterate too. Quite often it's stream of consciousness, the way that I talk. But it is something that none of the big businesses have addressed. Now, they've been pretty naughty, some of them, in many other ways. But that one, for letters to land on vulnerable people, come on. I was having a bit of fun with him. I'm not vulnerable at all. I may be 80 and I may have Parkinson's, but vulnerable? Certainly not. I'm facing this crisis the same as I face any other. Laugh at it and get on with it. But there are lots of vulnerable people out there, and not just 80 to 90-year-olds. There are plenty of 60 to 70 to 80-year-olds and even 50 to 60-year-olds who are vulnerable. They get a letter like that, and it scares the living bejesus out of them. And that's not on. Corporate social responsibility. Every major company in this country has to sign up to it. Very few practice it. Oh, they'll build a school, they'll build a clinic, they'll build a swimming pool, they'll do all sorts of good things. Sponsor a football. That's not corporate social responsibility, but still, some people would say, thank goodness they do, because now we've got a decent football team. Corporate social responsibility. And it's something that most people, most big businesses ignore. I actually train CSR. And I had a lady, not from the UK, I have to say, who said, my CEO has just discovered it and found out that legally he has to have it. My office is down a corridor. I don't see any of my colleagues. The PR people are stuck up in another floor. They don't talk to me. They see me as a nuisance. And anyway, I'm a scientist who looks at paint colours. That is the sort of attitude that is very prevalent amongst big businesses to corporate social responsibility. CSR, chaps. Legally, you have to have it. Legally, in your annual reports, if you're listed, you have to explain not only how much you spent on it, but what you did. And it's a very, very good thing to have.
You tell me.
Never mind about whether legally you should have it. Never mind whether you're being forced to have it. CSR. Put it in the boardroom and not down a corridor. Because at the moment, you are pissing me off mightily with your bloody letters. And then I pick up a newspaper, and there you are saying we're there to support you. I even occasionally get a letter from the CEO. It doesn't come out of the same computer, I can assure you, because it's pleasant. And if I lay the two letters together, I can't believe that they came out of the same company. So get with it. Get with it, big companies. Get with it, medium-sized companies. Because actually, in many ways, it's us little guys that are supporting this and doing the job of trying to reassure people, countries, nations, global, that we'll come through it. We'll get through it. That there is a new spirit. If you like, it's a new spirit similar to the one post-World War II. There is a national spirit and it's growing, and you're not doing much to help it. But you'll still up your interest rates when it's all over, won't you? You'll still collect the £2 or £5 or £10 for managing the account. Yeah. About time to stop. About time to rethink. Otherwise, I can see that people power is going to shift you out of the boardroom. dwell on that, chew on that for breakfast. Right, this morning, after this, I'm going to introduce you to somebody else who has just joined us on Mirador television. It's Mark Landsman. Mark Landsman was a legend as a newsman in the United States. He covered Diana's funeral. He covered the White House under a number of presidents, and he chews over and mulls over what it is that President Trump, and for that matter the other major parties, are doing in the United States. Interesting to listen to. Well, we're Brits to say, what does it have to do with us? We're global. You listen, Mark Landsman, right after me. That's light relief, isn't it? You're right. For the moment, Keith Hayes from the precinct in Lewis. Toodle pip.
Breaking news, November 1967. Carl Stokes, elected mayor of the city of Cleveland, Ohio. The first black American man of color to be elected the mayor of a major American city. Months later, Stokes was invited to the White House to be a guest at a state dinner to honor some foreign dignitary. Day of the event, young reporter, first time in the White House, standing in the main lobby with a camera crew. Here's a staircase, and that's where the party is going to come down and walk right by us. Behind me, there's the United States Marine Band playing John Philip Sousa marches, and that's very inspiring. And now there's an aide to the president standing up on top of that staircase, indicating it's about ready to happen, and I raise my hand like, stop, I have a problem with the camera. They understand. Takes a minute. We get the camera fixed. Okay. The music behind me stops, and now there's another tune. Dum 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 dum. Well, you know, that means the president is about to appear. And here comes President Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, and their party down the stairs. They walk right by our camera into the dining room for the event. Same signal, stop. Not a camera problem, no. I don't want him to come down the stairs because he's going to only head to a White House briefing. And those sessions really disturb me a lot because the president too often distorts the truth. He talks more about himself than he does of us. And here we are today. Here we are. The economy in tatters, 30 million people filing for unemployment benefits. 60,000 people have died in the last 8 weeks because of this virus. And the numbers keep going up. Number infected, the number of dying keep going up. And 30 states are about to open up a bit, letting people out of quarantine. And the medical community is quite concerned about that because it could contribute to another surge of this pandemic. Do the same thing, just for a little while longer. Be safe. Don't take a chance. I'm Mark Landsman.